What is up, Pookies? All right. Woo, good thing I checked because I was about to do another video without sound. I am still learning this setup. So let's get right into it. Not me excited to do post-market analysis when I got crushed. Um, let's get into it. What am I talking about? So I know that the day is gonna come when we have two people, 20 people, 200 people, 2,000 people, 200,000 people. And I know when because it's interesting to be on the content creator side part of things, or where you're calling out alerts for other people who are new and giving them your rationale. But so help me God, if and when, because I'm sure I've seen this before, but IWM is very um, we're going to see the same patterns over and over and over. A lot of it has to do with pattern recognition. And trust and believe, if we see this 1 hour setup again, especially on the lower time frames, like on the 15 minute, also if we're in this zone right here, I'm just gonna tell you guys, let's just go back to bed. It's not worth it for you to try and you know take calls. I took calls and puts today myself too. I kind of knew what it was, but I mean it comes with the territory, right? Um, I think that with my pre and post market, I mean my pre market analysis, everything else looked regular in terms of like the VWAP gaps and thinking that we'd have enough of a move, but truly, this is a liquidity indicator, and I have tried to fight this on the 15-minute time frame. Excuse me, I apologize. Um, and here we have it on the 1 hour time frame. And when I tell you, I would much rather tell my trading community, look, this is what I see. Another thing to take into consideration. So another thing I kind of want to talk through too is people don't like to trade like CPI, PPI, FOMC, um, jobs, jolts, right? And on this day, we had pre-market data at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. The market here opens at 6:30 for me Pacific Standard Time. Um, but the difference between this Thursday, because I came in from Tuesday's day to day. Let me just double check the calendar. It was either Monday or Tuesday. Oh, it doesn't show it anymore. I think it might be on my. Let's not get caught up in not in the semantics of it, but like on the nitty gritty of it. But it was either, because today's Thursday, so it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. But um, we had data, and the difference between I'm just mad that I'm gonna send people to this video and I'm gonna be coughing. I'm recovering from a cold, and it's not that I feel sick. It's just those pesky coughs. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so let's not get too caught up on the nitty gritty of it. But the difference between Tuesday, where I made profits even on a day to day, is that I didn't have that liquidity on that higher time frame. And so we still were able to get a solid one-to-one move, and also learning to look for that bigger play. So yes, there was a play to the upside, but the bigger play was actually looking for indications for puts to fill a gap. Um, Compared to what we saw on Thursday today, where we had the 1 hour was just flaring, roaring, showing that liquidity thing. Hold on 1 second. part of the problem is I talk a lot at work, and so that keeps my throat like really aggravated as well. Let me see if I made a note to myself. Oh, is this still all Thursday? So I don't want to get too caught up just because my computer is too slow, but yeah, I wanted to kind of talk you through what I was seeing there. Um, on the 3 minute time frame, another, if some of you want to risk it for the biscuit, um, another clue that we were getting into chop was that um, when you look at the open range breakout strategy, so this is the 3 minute. We had a hard time like breaking out of this range, right? So we never broke out of this range. And then when we broke out here, we came back and we tested and made another attempt to the downside. So right there, like around, what time is this? Come over here, babes. Computer's just lagging. It's been giving me a hard time lately. I don't know if you, well, actually, so I just ended the live. So I think part of it is it's like recording, it's still processing like, um, that large file. But 7:21, so almost an hour in, you're getting chopped and screwed. And if you go back and if you want to watch that live, you see that part of me was like the audacity, like I was pissed in the moment, but it's like I remember this is where we had the internal breakout to the upside show up. And if I'm not mistaken, we had a fair value gap to the upside. And this little sucker decided to then come down here and do a fair value gap to the downside. We also had an equilibrium level, and I also got clapped on that too because I can tell you exactly where it had happened right here. What time is this? It was right here. 6:54. So what happened was there was an equilibrium level right here, and I waited for a price to. It had rejected this fast TMA, and I was waiting for it to open below the equilibrium level because I was looking for more downside. We had a 15-minute gap, which is another thing I want to address because this is as much for you as it is for me. And it's at that point where there's this song by Beyonce, but in one of her lines, she's like, "Check my credentials, baby." And this is what that is all about. I know that a big part of it is I'm gonna have to tell you gotta tell Diddy no is basically what it's gonna come down to. And I know that there's gonna be times where people are gonna want me to call out stuff or force trades. We're not. No, I've done it. I've paid the cost for it. I've paid the tuition for it. And at this point, like I'm so adamant about it, like there's no need, right? The other thing I wanted to talk about was I've been tracking how IWM moves with the 15-minute gap. And this was one of the last times where we are documenting it. I have my journals and everything where I'm tracking it, but there is something unique and special about actually speaking it out, which I think is not only beneficial to me, but to you. And so, in contrast to Wednesday when we had the gap, which was so interesting too, because Wednesdays tend to be consolidation days, um, that's one of the first times since I've been trading and documenting everything that I had a 1 hour gap on Wednesday, and that played out beautifully. Um, and so one of the things I noticed is if we have the 15-minute gap indicator and the 1 hour, then it's like a higher probability, right? We're talking about like 80, 90, 95, 101% chance that we're gonna fill that gap. And so this was just me being a little bit hesitant and saying like, I know that IWM doesn't really, it's a lower probability, lower probability of, but you know what? It did feel it here, you guys. It did feel it here. What time is this? 9:24. But at what cost, yo? Like, people got so ripped around that the 15-minute gap, it did get filled. But honestly, if you know anything about theta and theta decay, yeah, this it did fill it. Um, and I think what I want to stress to you is the biggest part is we want to protect our profit and our mental like our mental capital as well. Um, it did fill the gap. It did fill the 15-minute gap. Um, but I think the biggest takeaway is going to be what we see on this 1 hour. Like if we, I'm going to show you again what it looks like on the 1 hour. If we wake up to this, go back to bed, get you some hot chocolate, get your steps in if you haven't already for the day, shower, do your makeup a little bit extra, take the time to, shave and do your legs if you need to, whatever, like just because I'm gonna tell you I'm not gonna put you guys through it and me through it. Is there a possibility that price can break out of it? Yes, and I will be documenting that. I bought a 1 year calendar, so we're taking it to a whole other level. Not only am I documenting it on a month to month basis, but when I have the yearly calendar, it's like right there in front of me where I'm gonna tell you guys, like, no, within the last 365 days, this is how many times this has actually played out. And that being said, we probably eventually will get to a point where maybe could we force a trade? But I feel like if it happens, if this setup happens like 12 times a year, those are 12 days that you can just call it a day. And maybe out of those 12 times out of the year, because this doesn't happen often, I would say it happens like maybe once a month. But out of those 25 trading days per month, you know, protect your because I got crushed and I actually kind of did over trade, because the thing is, there were the internal breakouts, which I like, but there were so many of them, and they just kept flaring up. So this is this is Thursday right here, and this is where we opened. So this is 6 o'clock. If we see this, if we open our 1 hour and we see that we're in this red zone, baby, we're not. No, find something to do. Go play traffic if you want to, but something, just not, you know, which basically trading this is like playing in traffic. Pick your poison. And again, I think that we're just gonna have to wait for this to clear up. I remember explaining pre-market analysis. We had this beautiful VWAP gap. IWM does love to fill gaps. The problem is you can see that it did fill it, right? So from here to here is the 1 hour playing out. Yeah, it did fill it, but the contracts were so choppy and so it definitely destroyed people's data. I was keeping track of it throughout the day. And if you look at it how it plays out on this 3 minute, nasty work. Nasty work. Let's go back to the 3 minute. My poor little computer. Um. Mm-mm-mm. So I think I kind of went off a little tangent when I was talking about the 15 minute. The 15 minute, I mean, it's moments like today where I'm like, oh, well, it did fill the gap later in the day. And maybe let's just explore what that means in the future, give it one more go round. But the biggest indicator that today was a no go day was that 1 hour. When we opened in that red liquidity zone, that was it, you know. Um, let's see what's happening here. I'm low-key being stalked. Like, not even low-key, like literally. Low-key. Literally. All right. But look at this. And I know it might seem like there were bigger movements in those wiki kind of movements, but let's look at this 3 minute right here. And the whole time too, I was watching it while I was at work. You were getting so many mixed signals even past 8:30. So um, we had internal breakout to the upside, and we did have the fair value gap, right? We didn't even hit the first take profit level of 65. It took me at 62. It reversed. I was so mad. I was like $3 or like 30 cents away from like my move, from taking my first profit for the day before it just like never came back. And then here I remember we had like a bullish internal breakout. So it's like you have people that are like, oh, we're finally going down. We're gonna fill this gap. Matter of fact, I was chanting. I was like, fill that gap, right? Because we had filled this gap, VWAP gap right here. We broke below the VWAP, but broke below the fast. Um, nice, move to the downside. There's nothing here for us to bounce off. Like there's nothing. I was like, what? Well, actually, correction. So the 3 minute equilibrium level was right in here, and so I waited for it to open below, and you were like, but it's green. Yeah, nasty work. It opened below the what you call it, below the if it wasn't this one, it was probably this one. What time is this one? I think I did it at 7. What time is this one? It was right here. So it had already bounced up and came back down. And so I was like, oh, we're going to the downside. And so it opened right below equilibrium and then just ripped to the upside. So then you think you're getting continuum to the upside, and then we got a bearish breakout here. And then from there, same thing, gave you another confirmation to the downside, but the moves were so small. After 8:30, you started to get smaller candles and stuff like that. So yeah, that concludes, you guys. Um, for those of you who are going to be watching this moving forward and you join my trading community, when I say this is what I see, you guys, we're not trading it. If you want something to do, you can either watch the live, because I will keep the stream live, but you can always just go back and watch this and watch the live replay of this of how it played out, and just know like, okay, I can play it if I want to, but it's not an A plus setup at all. It's a poop setup. Okay, so that's your post analysis and setup for today. I will talk to you guys later. I hope it was helpful. Bye.